Is Across the Spider-Verse the best Spider-Man movie? Of course, this is purely opinion-based, but it is a big question nonetheless, and everybody is debating it right now, with one side saying yes and the other claiming recency bias. It's been a week, and I didn't do a review for the film because I honestly didn't know how to conduct it without spoiling the movie, so instead, what I'm going to do is rank the 10 theatrically released Spider-Man films from worst to best. Consider this my review of Across the Spider-Verse. At number 10 is Spider-Man 3. I know this might irk some people, but honestly this film was a big letdown for me at the time. Everything I have to say about the film has been said before. I'm sorry if you love it, but it's really the least redeeming of the films for me. Number 9 is The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which again suffers many of the same issues as Spider-Man 3, which is purely too much packed into the plot and missing its potential. These two movies are relatively on par in my head, but I think I just like the action sequences and some of the cinematography of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 a bit more. Number 8 is the first Amazing Spider-Man, which is honestly a good movie in my opinion. I like what it does, but it falls flat because it was released just 10 years after the initial Spider-Man film and covers much of the same ground. Original Recipe Spider-Man is number 7 for me. It was one of the first superhero movies that managed to balance comic book fantasy and realism very well. Number 6 is Far From Home. It's become really popular to hate on this movie, and I don't get why. I maintain that the Mysterio fight is one of the most visually interesting things depicted in the MCU. Number 5 is Homecoming. This and Far From Home are about equal in terms of quality for me, but this movie has the edge purely because this is what I think an early day Spider-Man movie is. It feels like a high schooler story first, with the weight of a superhero movie on it. Number 4 is Spider-Man 2. I've always loved this movie and how much it improved on everything the first film set up. And it might be nostalgia keeping Homecoming and Far From Home from topping it, but it's just my preference. Number 3 is Across the Spider-Verse. I'm ready to face everyone in the comments for placing the movie here. If it's any consolation, I really do love this movie and everything it does, but it doesn't feel complete for me. I feel like I won't have a clear idea of what I think about this movie until Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out to close the story. No matter how much I love it, this is still only half of a very compelling story. Number 2 is Spider-Man No Way Home. This movie works for me on every level. It might have too much fan service, but I don't think that's a bad thing when the movie itself works without it. And that's to say, I think that No Way Home would work as a movie without the nostalgic crossover. And lastly, at number 1, it's still Into the Spider-Verse. This is a perfect movie from start to finish. As much as I love Across the Spider-Verse, it's just not a complete story yet. A year from now, my opinion might change, but as it stands, I still think that Into the Spider-Verse is the superior animated Spider-Man movie. Those are just my thoughts though. Let me know how wrong I am in the comments down below, and let me know your rankings of the movies. I'm really curious to see what everybody else thinks.